Joining us now, border czar for the Trump administration, Tom Homan, appearing on the North White House lawn. Sir, thank you for joining us. We just played sound there of elected officials and other leaders in Southern California, many upset about the Supreme Court decision. You heard it. They call this now a papers, please society. So my first question to you is, with this ruling,
I have never been pulled over in my life without an officer saying license and registration.
will the officials there, federal officials working for the Trump administration, National Guard and federal officers, will they be racially profiling? How will they approach the people they think might be migrants?
Well, first of all, it's a false narrative. We don't racially profile people to arrest them. I've been clear from, in the soundbite she just said 70% of people we arrest are not criminals. It's the opposite. Every morning I come to work, I go through 22 pages of data showing what's happened in the last 24 hours. Here are the facts. 70% of everybody we arrest is a criminal. But the left says, we're not criminal enough. No, they're criminals. Who are the other 30%? There are national security threats. We've arrested thousands of national security threats. Most national security threats don't have a criminal history, but they're significant danger to this country. Who are the others? They're gang members with no criminal history. Or they're people who have final orders, who had due process at great taxpayer expense, were ordered removed by a federal judge and didn't leave. They're being arrested too. So this false narrative being pushed is a reason why there's over a 1,000% increase in the assault on ICE officers. So the Supreme Court agreed with us yesterday on how we do these operations. I said from day one, we don't arrest somebody or detain somebody without reasonable suspicion. And reasonable suspicion has a group of factors you must take into consideration. Racial profiling is not happening at all, and the Supreme Court has agreed with that.
So what is that reasonable suspicion? Is it an accent? Is it a tattoo? Is it a job? Tell us what that means.
All of the above. 84% of the people that are here illegally are of Hispanic and Latino descent. If you have zero accent and you speak perfect English, there is a higher chance that you were born in the United States and you're not here illegally. These hosts who fancy themselves journalists are quite literally lizard brain children.
So what is that reasonable suspicion? Is it an accent? Is it a tattoo? Is it a job? Tell us what that means. A
lot of those things combined. We don't arrest people just based on their looks, right? But you know, it's a myriad of factors. It's you know, when people see, you know, if they have this MS-13 tattoo on his face, that is one factor. It leads to reasonable suspicion, but there's other factors too. Before they do these operations, they do surveillance. They run intelligence information. They look at background information. They look at undercover videos and taps. They look at social media reports. They copy license plate numbers of people who are leaving and coming. They build reasonable suspicion. That's what's required by law, and I'm confident the men and women, the Border Patrol and ICE, are establishing reasonable suspicion when they detain somebody briefly and question them. And look, the Supreme Court just agreed with us. I said from day one that the law enforcement officers are enforcing the law and acting within the law. Every ICE officer, every 6 months, has to go through Fourth Amendment training, refresher training, on what's required by law to detain, question, seize, arrest. So these are well-trained officers doing exactly the right thing. And the hateful rhetoric and the false stories are causing an attack on these men and women. I want people to remember, the men and women are ICE, they're mothers and fathers too. They don't hang their heart on the hook when they go to work. They strap a gun to their hip, they put a Kevlar vest on to arrest the worst of the worst and make this country safer.
What is this guy doing with his lips? I mean, he's already slow, so maybe he's trying to get into the turtle club.
Am I not turtly enough for the turtle club?
Mr. Homan, how would you define a criminal? And I'm curious, is a person who is living in this country, paying taxes, has a license, has a job, and has kids serving in the U.S. military, but is still in the process of getting legal papers, is that person a criminal?
Look, every case is different, but when I'm talking
I'm asking about that case.
No,
because there's been that
case.
No,
they are not. From what you just told me, they're not a public safety threat. However, if they're in the country illegally, that is not okay either. So should that person be put in a car, like surrounded by ICE agents wearing masks and dragged into a car and detained? I don't know the specifics of that case, but let me say this.
That seems to be the answer for any case that has happened that you don't want to talk about. Because there are cases across the country where people who are paying taxes, who have licenses, who are in the process of trying to get legal papers, are they criminals? Especially those who have kids who have served in the U.S. military. And
I do
no,
not
they're
know-
not
I
a
do not-
public safety hazard.
Are you going to let
Oh, geez. I love this hypocrite. She just created a second-class citizen, didn't even realize it. Oh, especially if they have a child in the military. Oh, okay, that makes it worse that they were detained when they shouldn't have been.
you gonna let me answer the question?
Yes, sir.
I don't know the facts of that case. I don't know what you're talking about. I have to look at the facts of the case. However, I will say this. If they're in the country illegally, that is not okay. And people think illegal immigration is
Are they
the victim
criminal?
of crime, and it's not.
Yes.
I don't know the case. I don't know the public safety threat. But I will say this. There are millions of people standing in line, taking their tests, doing the background investigation, paying the fees to be part of the greatest nation on earth. And the people who are doing things the right way are sitting on the back seat while we had millions of people come across the border in the Biden administration and cheated the system. People can call them asylum seekers all they want, but if you look at immigration court data, nearly 9 out of 10 people who claim asylum at the border under Biden end up with an order of removal because they don't qualify for asylum. They're pushing themselves to the front of the line, and there are thousands of people in the world who actually are escaping fear and persecution from their homeland. They're sitting in the back seat while people violate the laws, disrespected this nation. If you want to be a part of the greatest nation on earth, there's a right way and wrong way to do it. So if you're in the country illegally, you may not be a priority because we prioritize public safety threats and national security threats, but it's not okay to be in this country illegally.
Okay, so
Do you think she heard anything he just said? That they are hurting those who are coming here for good reason because of real persecution? The fact that 70% of the people they detained were criminals and the other 30% are potentially dangerous to the U.S. She going to bring any of that up? Let's find out. Maybe she'll just repeat herself.
is it fair to say that if someone is in the process of trying to get their paperwork straight and they have kids who have served in the U.S. military, and they're paying taxes and they have a license, is it fair to say that that person is not a threat to society and not a criminal?
I knew it.
Do they have a criminal history? Have
No.
you seen the intelligence? Do you have a? Do you
I'm
have
just
the intelligence?
asking, do you consider
No,
someone who is trying to get their papers now, struggling, and has kids who serve in the military, has a license and pay taxes, is that in your mind a criminal? Is that someone you want your ICE agents to take off the street?
I just explained the real data that I see every day. That a mass 70% are criminals, public safety threats, and the rest are national security threats. People with final orders. I don't know who this case. Do they have a final order? Have you seen the background investigation or the investigation that was built upon by the ICE agent? What's involved in that case? Things that you may not know. So unless I know the specifics of that case and I have the file in front of me, I can't make that determination.
Well,
if they're a threat
I
or
would
not.
like to see that data that you're talking about, the 70%, the criminal history. I'd love some transparency as to
Mrs. Anecdote here suddenly cares about data. Okay, sure.
why a lot of these people have been disappeared. You say you have data.
Disappeared.
We would love to see it. The
Where's the
American
data for that?
people
No,
should
first-
see this data.
Well, here's the rhetoric again, right? You just meant disappeared. That is a ridiculous thing to say.
Why?
Because ICE is doing the same thing we've done for decades. But because of the last 4 years, ICE wasn't allowed to enforce the law. ICE was told to sit back, and you can't arrest an illegal alien for simply being here legally. You got to wait till they commit a serious crime and get convicted of that crime. That's what Secretary Mayorkas' instructions were. And that's why you saw there's so much crime in this country coming from the illegal alien population, because there's no law enforcement. But we're doing the same thing right now that we did when I started back in 1984. ICE agents are enforcing the laws enacted by Congress. They're appropriated funding to enforce these laws. If you don't like what ICE is doing, then go protest Congress. However, to say we disappeared people, no. We're arresting people that are in the country illegally and are public safety threat. We know exactly who we're going to arrest when we go look for them. We have a case file in front of us. We have all those facts. This is not disappearing people. This is
I'd love to see
a
the
planned,
data.
targeted enforcement operation that we're doing. And comments like you just made is one of the reasons why these men and women are under threat every day. Not just the men and women in ICE, but their spouses and their children. They're not disappearing people. They're enforcing the law. And the data proves that 70% of
Could
these
we
people
see
are
the data?
criminals.
Could we see that data?
Absolutely. I have no problem sharing any data from it. I read it every morning.